What's up everyone, John Rettinger from Techno Buffalo here with an unboxing for you of one of the latest Android smartphones in AT&T's lineup. This is the Sony Ericsson Xperia Play that I've got blocking my face right now. This guy brings a lot of fun stuff to the table. Let's go ahead and get her unboxed. Alright, so here is the box of the Xperia Play. You got a picture of the device on the front, letting you know that it's 4G, that's HSPA plus variety. This is PlayStation certified, so you got all the PlayStation control-y business going on here on the front. We saw this guy first launched on Verizon, now we've got an AT&T, so it should be a very familiar package. On the back, you get some more info on what it can do, 4G, gaming phone, dual cameras, it's Android, 4-inch touchscreen. Alright, great. Let's go ahead and rip it open out of the box. We'll run through all the specs and all that goodness. You know how it works here. Alright, take it out. We've got some quick start guide. I don't know, do you guys read these? Kind of like to hear what you have to say, but I don't. So we'll push that off. Here is the phone. We'll go ahead and slide that out of the box. Xperia Play. Push that off for just a moment. See what else we're going to have in the box. There's a lot of business here in this box. Very busy. All right, so from a battery standpoint, I believe we are looking at a 1500 milliamp hour battery. And we are indeed looking at a 1500 milliamp hour battery, 5.4 watt hours. So we've got that. Push that off to the side. There's the wall charger, pretty standard. It's a rectangle with a USB cord in. Of course, that's going to charge micro USB. We've got a pretty decent looking pair of headphones here, actually. You know, Sony is known for making nice headphones, so those are going to be included with some ear gels for your listening comfort. We also have a charging cable, so there is that. And then we also have it's like a 3.5 extension cable. You can also use that sometimes for data, so perhaps to make the microphones a little bit larger. We'll take a look at the adapter here in just a minute. We'll see if maybe these two things go together. We'll take a look at that at the end, because that's not overly exciting. And then we've got something. Usually I can predict what's going to be in the boxes, but this Xperia Play is kind of throwing me for a loop. Looks like we've got, oh look at they're including a dock, which is kind of nice. So 3.5 jack protruding right there, micro USB charging port, and there you've got your power in and out and audio. So you can plug in all kinds of neat different stuff to this. That's kind of cool they included that. All right, great. Let's take a look at the phone itself. Here we have the Xperia Play. Texting and driving, it can wait. That is a true statement. We'll go ahead and rip this off. That whooshing noise, you can get that on the microphone. That's always fun. Is there any on the back? Because if there's any on the back, I get yelled at in the comments, and I do read the comments. So boom. So this guy's all gussied up in blue. Slide it up, and there's where all that PlayStation certified business comes into play. You've got a 4-way navigation pad here, touch sensitive controls, which always makes me feel dirty when I use them, but they do work very well. And then your PlayStation buttons, triangle, circle, X, and square. I do know my shapes. We've got your Android buttons here. There's your menu option, and then you've got to start and select. But that's not the only buttons this guy's got. It also has shoulder buttons. So when you're gaming, go ahead and do those shoulder buttons. This is not really spring-loaded, so you got to push up, and then it'll kind of go on itself. You definitely got to give it a bit of a push to get it to go. On the left-hand side of the device, there's your 3.5mm headset jack. There's your micro USB charging port. On the bottom, there's some microphone action. On the left-hand side, got those shoulder buttons that we just talked about, and a volume rocker kind of hidden there in the middle. On the top, in the upper right-hand corner, which is where I like it the most, is the power and lock button. Front-facing camera on the front, obviously, which is a VGA. On the back is a 5-megapixel camera, LED flash, 8x digital zoom, and autofocus. So it'll autofocus in and out, depending on what you're doing. I've got, of course, your Android buttons here, which aren't the normal Sony buttons that we see on a lot of their phones, the Xperia Arc, for example. These are normal Android looking, all 4 of them. Then a bit of a different order, though. You've got the back button on the left, home, menu, and then we've got search there as well, which is kind of interesting that they did it like that. All right, so let's go ahead and pop in the battery and see what this guy is got going on. We'll power it on here. Battery pops off. Plastic piece, I assume, is what's going to get that battery out of its housing. Although you never know. Sometimes you get big battery door fails trying to open these things up. I've opened so many phones, it never gets easier. They all do something different. So let's see. I suppose if I read the instructions, that would be helpful, but you know, I don't really do that. All right, I'm going to have to cut back here after getting this open. All right, so that was probably one of the more difficult backs to get off, but we do have that off. So go ahead and pop in a battery here. Go ahead and slide that on in. You can already hear the jokes in the comments. And I'll power it on. This is not for the faint of heart trying to get the back of this phone off. So one of the best things about the Xperia Play for me, it's a fine phone. At least I expect it to be a fine phone. It was fine on Verizon. Is this keypad is awesome for game emulators. So assuming you own the original consoles and the original games, those usual caveats apply, playing Super Nintendo, Nintendo games on here is pretty awesome. Let's go ahead and see if this has any juice. After that hassle of trying to get the back off, I hope it's going to have enough power. And while it is booting up, fingers crossed, I can run you through some specs, and yay, it is booting up. All right, so weighs 6.2 ounces, so not heavy, not light. It's got a little bit of heft, if you can see there. It's got a nice amount of junk in the trunk, but not enough that you're gonna like turn your head twice and be like, wow, that phone needs to go on a diet, or that phone should stop wearing spandex. If you saw this phone on the beach in a two-piece, you probably wouldn't think anything about it. So it's running Android 2.3, micro SD card up to 32 gigs, pretty standard. I would take the back off here. We could see if it came with one, but I'm not even gonna try that again. 5-megapixel camera we talked about. It's being powered by a 1 gigahertz single core Snapdragon processor, so it should have a decent amount of juice. Not a juice, but power to let it do what it needs to do. VGA front-facing camera, slide-out gamepad, and 512 megabytes of RAM. You can see a little bit of that sort of Mediascape-ish interface they have here. Let's let it do its load up and boot up thing. Please insert your SIM card and restart your phone. I don't have a SIM card in there, so I'm not going to restart my phone. But you can see some of what the custom interface they have here is. It's a bit unique. If you go ahead and do that, you can see all the widgets that you have selected. You can move them around. It's nice. It's not my favorite. It's relatively heavy. I do like the dialer, though, they put on here, so keep that in mind. Under applications, let's go ahead and see what we've got. We should have all the PlayStation Store stuff here. Crash Bandicoot is one of their highlighted games. You scroll from left to right on this one. Madden 11, Livewire Manager, and there's the Play Games. So I do a full review, I'll walk you guys through this, but definitely if you're looking to get a phone that you want to play some games on, this is a great phone to pick up just for an emulator. Even if you have another phone that you want to use, and you just want to use this for, say, playing games, and Xperia Play has come with me on many plane trips, because I got to get my Mario on. So, you know, take that with a grain of salt or whatever you want that to mean. So guys, I'm John Rettinger from Techno Buffalo. This has been a first look at the Xperia Play 4G for those guys, AT&T. Anything you want to see covered in the review, go ahead and leave them in the comments down below, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye. So I did, by the way, want to mention, I was talking about these headphones earlier. There's microphone built in, and it's pretty standard stuff. You can answer calls right there. That little cable is not for the microphone. What this little cable is for actually goes with the dock. So you can plug it in the back here, and you can plug this into a set of speakers, and you can get your music on. So that's what that's for, in case you're wondering. I was super curious, but there's the dock as well. Now I'm not lying, I really will see you guys in the next video.